So we are, again, like I said, just growing rapidly. 77433 is the fastest growing zip code in the United States. 77433 is the fastest growing zip code in the United States. That was as of a few months ago, if it has not changed.
Really?
So, yeah. That's incorporating Cypress in general, going out to Hockley.
The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Knapik and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Knapik.
Welcome to the show. It is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Knapik. Thank you for joining us right here on show number 536, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. And it's going to be awesome as we have tremendous guests. Once again, super realtors. We're going to talk money, insurance, so many things, almost everything you need to know in 54 minutes. It's right here. First, we're going to start with Christy Kabala. The company is Texas Local Realty. Christy, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, here you are.
Pleasure.
It's exciting, and it's going to be exciting to hear about your company and what's happening in the real estate world. Christy, first of all, let's tell people about your company, Texas Local Realty.
All right. Well, we opened in 2021. I helped co-open that with David Hampton, my broker, and we are a one and only family-owned company, and we are full-service boutique. We are 13 realtors, including myself and my broker, and we service Houston and all surrounding suburbs.
And especially, I think, the suburbs. I guess we're growing in every direction, but especially those suburbs, certainly the center of the city. But it seems like activity is radiating out of the center of the city.
Oh, it is booming. And especially where we are, our office is in Town Lake, Cypress. So we do a lot of our business in that area, and we're excited to see just so many things coming to the area. We have the largest HEB in the United States. We've got a 3-story Starbucks roastillery that you can dine and have drinks while you're there. We've got just hospitals opening up left and right on 290. We've got a lot of oil and gas companies coming to 99, which is our, I guess, thoroughfare freeway out that way. And then, it's been exciting to see really the master plan communities grow, and we're a part of it.
Right there in the first 2 minutes, we've learned so much as far as what's happening. I lived not that far away. I had no idea about roastilleries and the largest HEB. I'm a massive HEB fan.
It's 2 stories, and they'll have a full-service barbecue restaurant in there. So, and I hear there's a drive-through in case you're in a hurry.
So exciting.
But it's been pretty cool.
Well, of course, when we think about the commercial aspects and the things, the restaurants, the things we all like to do, that goes hand in hand with residential real estate, which you are an expert in these many years. So let's tell people about the real estate activity in the area as far as residential, what's happening.
So we are, again, like I said, just growing rapidly. 77433 is the fastest growing zip code in the United States. That was as of a few months ago, if it has not changed.
Really?
So, that's incorporating Cypress in general, going out to Hockley. So it's pretty crazy, but pretty amazing. And a lot of the neighborhoods are closing out. So we've had builders in there for, 10, 20 years. And now we are finding the last opportunities if you want to build a home. That is kind of coming to an end in some of our neighborhoods, but the resale is still there, and you can still get a lot of bang for your buck in our area for sure.
Well, I want to also mention to people, as you mentioned right at the beginning, Town Lake, for those listening outside of Houston or another city. Town Lake, this is on the Cypress, and Town Lake is on the west side of Houston. If you're looking at Houston as being in the middle, this is on the west. And again, it's growing like crazy as you're mentioning all these things.
It is, and it's the only neighborhood that close to the city center of Houston where you can have a true boat, whether it be a pontoon boat or a speedboat. You can truly, get off work, go home, and get on your boat and actually go up to the restaurants and the shopping that we do have within the neighborhood. So it's one of a kind.
No doubt
sure.
about it. And Town Lake, even for people that don't live there like me, it's nice to go and visit every now and
then. It's open to anybody. Absolutely.
Open to everybody. You can look at the water. But I like the idea to have my home on the water and have a boat. That's possible right there.
Yes, you can.
So how does that work? Let's say someone has the money and they want to have a home and they say, okay, I want to do my job and all those things, but I want to have that recreational lifestyle when I get home. What are kind of the dollars for those homes that we see that are around the Town Lake Boardwalk area where we can have the water, the home, and so forth? Where do they start?
Great question. So we do have 5 sections within our neighborhood that are on the water. There's smaller lots that obviously go, more for, I guess, the budget friendly, and those start in around the $500,000-$600,000. And then we have a 55 and up section, same thing, around the same price point to be on the
55
water.
speed mile or a speed limit? Or
that's a good question as well. So, no, 55 and up in age. So,
really? Okay, I kind of knew that.
And
yes.
they're pretty strict about it. So
really?
They want it to be obviously a quieter, calmer atmosphere. They have their own amenities, although they can use the main amenities too. But again, that's another area where you can be on the water very affordably. And then we go all the way up to a custom section where they are completely built out for new construction, but you can get a home on the water with a pool and all that. And those are going to be around $1.5 to $3 million.
So, number one, whenever I get to be 55, I might consider this. Yeah. But having said that, so if I have $1 million,
yes,
just take an even number like $1 million, I can be on the water?
Absolutely.
So right there.
Yes.
All they have to do is call you.
That's right. And you come take a boat tour. So they do boat tours Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and you can actually see everything from the water side, and it's pretty cool. It sells you.
Doesn't that make real estate even more fun, yes. Christy, right?
Yes. We get to take our clients out on a boat.
Take them out on the boat. That's so awesome. So right now, as far as the marketplace, I know you help buyers and sellers all the time. Are you helping, say, more sellers now or buyers? How's the mix at this moment in your world?
Lately, I have been more listing heavy, and then we've had some changes in our real estate world that kind of, obviously buyers weren't as excited with the higher interest rates, so that kind of slowed things down a bit. But we're picking back up. The rates are dropping, and we're here for it.
That's pretty exciting. And of all the things you could be doing, here you are in the real estate world for many years, but what drew you to real estate to begin with? Because you really have to like it and also be ready. Even back then when you started, you have to be ready for all the changes that are going to unfold year after year.
I think what kind of built the thick skin that is needed to be a real estate agent was I was an oil and gas landman, so that's short for land management, but I did negotiating for oil and gas companies. And so we would go out to the courthouses, figure out who owned the actual subsurface mineral rights, and then go out and lease those rights from either banks, trusts, individuals. And, you're defending your oil and gas companies. And I kind of wanted to take that on a local scale and not be, living in motels and traveling. So got into real estate 13 years ago, and it was the best decision I ever made.
That sounds awesome. We're talking with Christy Cabala. The company is Texas Local Realty. And here we are winding up the end of the year. Not quite yet, but we are seeing the end in
the holidays
sight.
Coming.
It's coming up.
Yes.
I'm thinking about the holidays, and a lot of people are. But as we're winding up this 2024, looking ahead to 2025, what are some of the things you're preparing for, you and the other realtors at Texas Local Realty?
I think we're all hopeful. We apparently have a dip in the rates coming very, very soon, and then hopefully a couple more. And I do think that is going to bring, maybe, I don't want to say the word frenzy, but I think we are going to get all those people that were on the bench for a little while to come out of the woodworks, and it'll be a great time to sell. And then if you're a buyer, it'd be a great time, to start looking and get ahead of that curve. And then prices have definitely cooled off, so we're not seeing that, crazy over asking type of scenario. So again, it's a good time to sell and buy coming up.
Well, also taking the Cypress area once again. Now you go if anyone's listening and they say, "Hey, but I'm in this area, I'm in the Woodland." You're helping people.
I'm
all
100%
over.
referral wherever it takes you. Yeah.
But going back to Cypress for a second, there's new home builds there, and there's existing homes, so there's a lot of variety. And of course, we're mentioning even the homes that are by the water and so forth. So there's a lot. I think, would that be a drawing point of Cypress, the diversity of
Correct.
types of places we could live in?
Yeah, if you want the easy maintenance, new construction, that's everywhere. And then if you want to kind of bundle a house with the whole outdoor living, resale is the way to go, but we have it all.
And interesting, early on, you're describing a lifestyle. It has somewhat of a resort feel.
Yes.
Just going to Cypress.
Yes.
And just a side note, no one cares, but one of my favorite Costco's is the Cypress Costco.
Yep, we've got.
Brand new gas pumps, never a line. Love that.
And we got Buc-ee's.
And you have Buc-ee's. That's right. You have it all.
It's really near the Stewart Title office, actually.
There's no doubt about it. I think, Christy, people right now that we're going to live somewhere else, they're saying, I'm thinking about Cypress right now after hearing Christy.
Yeah. I am a city girl. I love, working in the city when I get to, and I have clients down here, but, the suburbs are pretty.
Well, you just jump on 290.
Yeah.
And as you were saying early on, 99 has made such a difference.
The new loop. Mm-hmm.
The new loop for people going north and south. That's near Cypress. It's near Katy.
Mm-hmm.
People use it all the time, and it's really made a big difference in so many ways, especially in real estate, both residential and commercial.
Especially commuting to the different hospitals. So I've helped several clients that were, working at the hospitals in Katy or Cypress, even up in the Woodlands, things like that. That 99 has just made it so much easier.
It's incredible. And Christy, before we close this segment, what else do you want people to know?
Well, I just absolutely love what I get to do each day. I feel like I've found my passion, found exactly what God wanted me to do, and I'm going to keep doing it till somebody makes me retire one day.
Christy Kabala. Christy, let's tell people how they can reach you.
All right. My cell phone number is 832-922-1893, and my email is my first name, Christy, KRISTY, at TexasLocalRealty.com.
The phone number again is
832-922-1893.
And your husband's listening, apparently. You want to say hi to him?
Hey, Jordan.
Hey,
and I'm
Jordan.
sure my kids.
There you go. Thank you, Christy Kabala.
All right. Thank you for having me, Bill. This has been a pleasure.
As we continue, let's talk to Kristalla Pashas. She is with Keller Williams Memorial. Kristalla, welcome to the show.
Hi, Bill. It's great to be here.
Well, it's great to see you. First of all, Keller Williams is known far and wide. You're with Keller Williams, and there are many locations, but let's tell people about the location you're with, Keller Williams Memorial.
Hi, Bill. I am actually very new to Keller Williams Memorial. They say when you cannot get there as fast as you can. That was pretty much me, and it has just been a phenomenal time that I've had with them. The education, the camaraderie, the support that I'm getting from my office is just, I've tried many different little agencies, and I can say that this has been a shoe-in. It's been one of the greatest fits and one of the greatest moves that I've made.
Well, it's funny when you mention Keller, when we think about Keller Williams, that's one of the first things I think about is the education and how they continually are doing things to help the agents. But as far as the marketplace, you're in the Memorial area, so people hear the show, they're familiar with Memorial. But also, let's tell people geographically the main places you've been, Memorial or otherwise, say in the last maybe 10, 20 transactions.
Yes, well, I have been a little bit all over the place because a lot of my business is referral, and it is based on my sphere of influence that is just everywhere. So it has been friends, it's been business partners, it's been different people. So I cannot say it's just been located to a specific demographic for me.
Well, but let's hit Memorial, because right now Memorial is also a very active real estate market.
Give
us an idea of what's happening in Memorial, and for those again listening that might be outside of the city, that's kind of closer to the city, but it is on the west side, heading west, so it's a very popular area.
It is. It's growing. It has got at the same time as the fact that it is growing, there's also a lot of new people moving in, and energy corridors right there. And it is one of those neighborhoods and one of those areas in Houston that is very sought after, because if you've lived there, you're never going to leave. And then you have those who are wanting to come back and wanting to get into that area.
And the other thing I think about in Memorial, it's kind of sort of like when you think of the Woodlands, you think trees, But that's also one of the features in the memorial area. There's mature trees, and it really makes the neighborhoods nice.
It's very established, which also means that they got extremely hit when we had the derecho coming through and when we had Beryl coming through. But they got back on their feet really quickly, and it still looks very established. It still looks very
wooded.
Exactly.
That's what I was thinking.
That's the word.
So as far as yes, that's what we have. When we have trees in an area, it's indeed a wooded area, and it's also a popular thing. But we do watch I have trees at my house, and when the storm came through recently, I was a little nervous. So thus, if you have trees, you got to take care of them, and that's good for the people.
I think we all felt that.
Yeah, the people in the tree business, they like that. So in the meantime, as far as the way you're looking at, and especially with a company like Keller Williams, where there's a lot of meetings and a lot of forecasting and things, what are some of the things that you could tell us that's not confidential, of course? What are some of the things that you're talking about as you look at closing as a company 2024 and then looking ahead? What do they tell the team?
Well, for us, a lot of it this year was the new changes that were going into effect and making sure that we are all very ready for these changes. I mean, new forms are coming in, and other than what we are getting educated on, it gave us the confidence to move forward, to make sure that we are able to explain our value to our customers. And going into the new year, it just takes away a lot of that fear that so many of the other agents are feeling today.
Well, and that's one of the things, whatever we do, you talk about value to the clients.
Absolutely.
It's a very important, especially in real estate, because the buyer or seller may not buy or sell except for every X amount of years, whatever that is, 5 years, maybe 10, 2 or 3. So they're not around the real estate world that much. So it's very important to know the value proposition at all times. But when you look at 2025, it's exciting that we're even approaching a number like that.
Yes.
It's going to be very interesting what unfolds.
It is, and I am looking forward to it. I mean, by that time, election's going to be behind us, our rate drops are going to be behind us, and hopefully a lot of the fear that people are from the buyers and even sellers who didn't want to quite list right now, I'm thinking that a lot of that will be put to rest, and I'm looking forward to a great 2025.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of activity. I mean, I'm not an economist, just a regular guy.
I think so too.
But I'm feeling something that's going to happen. I'm going to predict right now it's going to happen January, first couple weeks, so be ready for that. In the meantime, now, you're in real estate. What drove you, Cristala, to be in the real estate profession? What was your inspiration?
I have always liked the service part of the real estate industry. I've liked the connections and the relationships. I started my real estate journey in the early 2000s, but then we got hit by a recession, and I put it on the back burner, got into the restaurant industry, and then when my kids graduated from high school, just jumped right back into, got my license, and just took off from there because that was my time.
And people, as they're especially if they're listening to the show, and of course we have a video, you could see it at stewart.com/radio. But as they hear the show and they hear your accent, let's tell people they're probably wondering, well, I think I know where the accent comes from, but let's clear it up right now.
Well, I am South African. I was born and raised in South Africa, and I do get offended when they tell me I'm Australian because we're better than them in rugby. So...
Of course you are, yes.
Absolutely. And I have Greek in there. So my dad was Greek and my mother was South African.
So then there's a confusion between South African from the accent and the Australians.
Yes,
I didn't think
there
of that.
is.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with me, they keep telling me, they're like, Australia? I'm like, no, South African all the way.
So aren't we glad we cleared that up?
Yes.
Now, the Australians, to their credit, they have a nice accent too, but I am favoring the South African accent.
Oh, you see, I like you even more.
See that? That's exactly right. But it is beautiful. And I'm going to guess, as people, when we do business with someone, whatever kind of field it is, the whole experience of working with someone, it's a relationship, right? We're talking to them. We're looking at them. We're engaging and discussing things. But it's nice to talk to someone that has a great accent. I think that's probably an advantage for you. I'm just saying.
Thank you. And
is it true?
I think it's a great starting point. It's everyone asking where I'm coming from. So,
well, I would think it makes communication very enjoyable. So as we look at buyers and sellers. Now, whatever area of town you want to pick, are you helping more buyers right now or more sellers? What's your ratio at this moment?
At this moment, I would say it's a complete 50-50. I had a lot of buyers who were sitting on the fence that are now telling me they are ready to start the look at least. And, of course, they're waiting until October, which everyone has said, that's when the rates are going to drop again. But we are starting. So my buyers that were waiting are coming forward now. And then I have a few, and, of course, there's always the sellers that are right there.
Well, I'm not sure the timing of the rate drop. I think you're right, but I hope the temperatures drop. And that
I
is,
hope so.
how about a little bit of 10, 20 degrees knockdown? And I think that, too, is going to help buyers, especially when it just makes it easier to go look at homes when it's cooler.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
And also the run on schools. Mid-year we have a lot of parents with their kids running to get into different school districts. So the latter part of the year is more relaxed. It's not running as much I don't have as much of the pressure with my buyers or sellers towards the end of the year.
That sounds awesome. And Kristalla, we're talking with Kristalla Pashas. The company is Keller Williams Memorial. Kristalla, what else do you want people to know before we close this segment?
I am looking to develop more relationships, friendships, and extended family, since I don't come from Texas. So it's not just sales for me. So,
what city in South Africa?
I was born in Johannesburg.
Johannesburg. So do you go back ever?
I went back in 2020.
Not that long ago.
Not that long ago.
To make a flight to Johannesburg, what is that like? Is it one flight, or do we go direct, or you have to do a lot of...
No, you go through Europe. So we stopped in Germany, and then we flew over to South Africa.
That's kind of a full day?
It is a full day. It absolutely is. It's a 20-something hour flight.
Ooh.
Doesn't happen that often, that's why.
There you go. Kristalla Pashas. Kristalla, let's tell people how they can reach out to you.
Well, you can reach me at 832-289-0523. Once again, my name is Kristalla Pashas, and
the phone number again is
832-289-0523.
Thank you, Kristalla.
Thank you for having me.
Let's welcome Carrie Jo Woodling and Denzel Davis. They are with NRL Mortgage. Hey, everybody, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having us.
I love the energy. Well, it's great to see you both. And, we've been hearing already in these few minutes a lot about money. And guess what? NRL Mortgage, you're here to shed the light on the financial situation in the mortgage world. So first of all, Carrie Jo, as you're with NRL Mortgage, let's tell people your role with the company.
Yes, thank you. My role at NRL Mortgage is business development. So really all I do is go out and meet real estate agents and introduce them to our loan officers. And then they build that relationship with the loan officers and close deals.
That almost sounds like a fun job.
Oh, it's fun. I get up every morning and I'm excited because I meet new people and new friends every day.
And you're in the exciting world of money. So, and then Denzel, let's tell people what you do for the company.
So I help people get themselves in the first stages pre-approved. That way they know they can go out and shop for a home and that their deal's going to go through. We help them with understanding their budget. We help them with understanding some things like taxes and insurance, but overall making sure that they're fully pre-approved so they can go out and buy their next house.
And while I'm thinking about it, most people know, but let's tell people the difference between pre-approval and pre-qualified. What's that in a word?
So generally speaking, pre-qualified is a little bit more of a conversation about maybe there's a credit pull, but a conversation about work history, a conversation about how much money they have in the bank. You get much more deeper with a pre-approval where you're getting real documents. You're really scrubbing those documents. Bank statements, pay stubs, W-2s, anything else that's important for their profile to confirm that they are fully pre-approved.
So it's better to be pre-approved when you're ready to look at property with a real estate professional.
We only do pre-approvals. It's the proper way to know that somebody's ready to go, and it's what our realtors expect.
And also, in terms of the loan process, when should people begin to talk to your company about being ready for a loan when they're starting to think, like maybe 2 months from now, we're going to look at homes, right? Or we want to buy a home. When should we talk to a company like NRL?
It's the perfect question, and the right answer is it's never too early, because nowadays, if we do a hard credit pull, it's good for 120 days. That's a pretty extended length of time. But we can also do soft credit pulls now, where we can give somebody a very specific review, and then we can start working from there to get more pre-approved if they're not perfect yet. But you really can't start too soon, because we never know really what we need to get right.
That sounds awesome. And Carrie Jo, you're out there in bringing attention to your company, because just like the real estate professional, there's so much competition, so many companies in the same thing that we all do. So give us an idea of some of the things that you do that might be distinctive, or some distinctions of your company that you tell people about.
Okay, great question. So what we really are passionate about at NRL is training and education in addition to the customer service that we offer. So I spend a lot of time with real estate agents in their business. What are they struggling with? What are their pain points? And bringing them solutions on training and education. So we host a lot of education for the agents out there. And that way, we're helping them in their business, growing their business, and in return, they're going to give back. Because we find once you give to somebody, they're more apt to give back to you in doing business with our loan officers. And then as far as NRL, our two words, our major, one of the major words that we hang our hat on is reliability. And all of our loan officers and myself, when we say we're going to do something, we do it. Whether it's providing the pre-approval or the pre-qual for the borrower or for the agent, that is what we're going to do. So reliability at NRL is a huge word for us.
That's awesome. And of course, we know Kevin Davidson at Stewart Title in Sugar Land and Richmond. You're doing a lot of partnerships with our company there to bring this awareness to real estate professionals. So that's awesome. And I guess that helps educate the marketplace.
Absolutely. And Kevin and I and a lot of the reps at Stewart do work hand in hand as far as having that same like-minded personality and character for training and education. So we work side by side, and it's a win-win situation, because we're marketing and bringing agents to Stewart Title, and they're doing the same thing for NRL.
And I would think with all the activities that you have done, are doing, and we think again, we're talking about the end of the year and next year, there's a lot to get together on the schedule. I would imagine you're really busy right now.
Yeah, so what we're busy with now is I do a lot of business planning and goal setting one-on-one with agents. And so that is really fixing to kick off, because at the end of the year, that's what everybody wants to do. They want to be preparing for 2025. So that's coming up. And then one of our actually, we're already scheduling all of our events and education for 2025. You have to do it that far ahead of time. And then the big thing we have at NRL coming up, we do a military real estate advocate CE class, and it's being hosted at our corporate office in the Galleria on November 6th, and it is a 2-hour CE, but it's our one of two charity events that we do a year. And we really dive into training and teaching our real estate agents on how to serve our veterans, because they served us with their lives.
Absolutely. And Denzel, as far as just a word back on the pre-approval, someone might be thinking, well, how long does it take for me to get a pre-approval?
So if somebody
varies, I guess.
It absolutely varies. If somebody's very well dialed in, work history is extensive, salary, good money in the bank, it can literally be an hour or two with a full application, and they get me their documents quickly. Other people, we need things like overtime calculations. We need bonus calculations. Sometimes it takes a little time. Maybe we need a work verification. But if the borrowers move quickly, filling out a full application and getting us all their docs up front, it can happen quite quickly, and they'll know where they stand, and then they'll know what questions they need to ask us.
Sounds like a real efficient process that you're all running over there.
It really needs to be, so the borrower can get answers. If the information doesn't flow correctly, it's hard for borrowers to know where they stand in the process, if they're pre-approved or not. So we really try to teach and encourage how important it is to dive right into the pre-approval, to the application, and getting us those documents.
And as far as someone that's in business for themselves, what does it look like on that side of things?
So we do a lot of self-employed clients, FHA, VA, and conventional. Those are kind of my specifics that I'm good at. Those all offer quite reasonable self-employment programs. We just typically need to get into their income tax returns for the last 2 years.
Still pretty easy and efficient as far as
it can be quite quick still, yes.
The workflow goes. As far as someone, a family or an individual that's, again, thinking about getting a loan, I would think they should be ready. So what's the best way for them to be ready before they even call you, for an individual or a family, let's say?
Once people decide it's time to buy, generally it really is time to buy in their family situation. So once they've gotten to our phone call, most of my referrals come from realtors. So a lot of times they've had that conversation and now they're moving on to the next step. I can feel their readiness. And then we just try to really train on being good about diving into the application and the documents to get their answers as quick as possible.
And we've already heard on this show in the last few minutes the two words, rate drop.
Yep.
Rate drop. At least a couple times. So do you think there's going to be a rate drop? Is this true, or are we just wishing?
So it appears very likely on the 18th of this month, the Fed will do their first rate cut in 4 years. So much of that has been already built into the mortgage side of things. So you've seen mortgage rates drop pretty substantially in the last 90 days. So it'll be real interesting to see what they actually drop the rate to and what the next few days after that brings us in terms of more rate drop, or does it pause a little bit? But it'll be real interesting to see what they do on the 18th and then the week that follows.
So that's pretty much right now.
Yeah.
And then if you were, based on what your company talks about in meetings and forecasting, again, it's all speculation. What is your company, NRL, thinking about 2025?
I mean, we think it's going to be very busy. I mean, the election will be passed. Somebody mentioned that earlier. Rates will be lower, certainly, than they've been in the last 24 months. We think the activity will be high. We think there'll be lots of transactions and there'll be lots of buyers in the market.
Sounds pretty exciting. So, Carrie Jo, you have a lot to beat the drum about as you're out there promoting the company. Very exciting, yeah.
Yes, I do. There are 120 loan officers with NRL here in the Houston area. So
wait a minute, how many again?
120.
Wow.
So wherever I go, but today Denzel's my favorite, right?
My favorite
He's
too.
the favorite of the 120.
Denzel has captured the whole room. I think in the short period of time, he is everybody in this room's favorite, right? Yes. There you go.
There you go.
Glad you brought that up. Yeah.
But yes, I do have it. The core of it's a family. So the core of our business and the people that are involved with NRL, like I said earlier, are so like-minded. Love and serve is pretty much the two words that everybody in the morning gets up, and their goal for the day is.
And Carrie Jo, before we close this segment, what do you want people to know?
I would like you to know that whether you're a real estate agent or a borrower, please reach out to me. I am a people connector. I meet people all day, every day, and I connect them to our loan officer. So borrower, you guys want to get into your dream home, please reach out to me. Real estate agent, let's work together on getting your clients in their dream home.
And your number is?
281-229-1843. And it's 281-229-1843.
And Denzel, no pressure.
I want people to know, I want to say it again, get started early.
Get started early.
Understand your profile, understand the area you're buying in, understand the budget, and it'll make you so much more confident when you go out to buy your dream home.
And how can we reach you?
My number is 832-372-5570. Again, that's 832-372-5570.
And what's the company website?
NRLmortgage.com.
Too easy.
Too easy.
And then my personal website is www.loansbydavis.com.
Loansbydavis.com. Thank you both.
Thank you for having us.
It's always great to talk to Stewart Associates. And right now we have Kate Cannon. She's the escrow officer in our Richmond location right here in Houston, Texas, in the Houston market. Kate, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
You know, it's always great to have an escrow officer on the show because it doesn't happen that often.
Oh, Oh, well, we like to be chained to our desk and working for our clients, but I was able to sneak a little bit of time out to come visit you today.
To be out here on the radio talking to many people. Well, let's tell people, as far as an escrow officer, for many of us, especially people not in the real estate profession, it's kind of a mysterious thing. Give us a bullet point or two about what the escrow officer does in the real estate transaction, where at the end, buyers get keys, people get checks, and that whole thing.
So we are a neutral third party that is going to check all liens and judgments against the property to make sure that the new buyer gets a clear title, as well as we'll follow any of the items in the contract to make sure. I also will prepare the settlement statement to know who's being charged with what. We will review taxes for property taxes, ISD taxes, and we just make sure that the property is completely free and clear of anything and that everyone has the information that is provided per the contract at the closing table.
Interesting. In just those few seconds, you made it sound almost easy, but there's, as you say those things, each one has a whole string of details attached to it. So it's very meticulous and precise, detailed work, would you say?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes. And, that's why it's great to have a good team working with you. I have Janice and Gracie at my office. They are fabulous. They're very knowledgeable, and we're ready to take on anything.
Well, and of course, each transaction, I would imagine, is a little bit different.
Yes, it's all, the same ideal, same process, but you never know what you're going to get on that Schedule C, on that commitment until you get it in. And from there is where the real work starts.
And as far as, once again, all the details that are involved, just as an individual, when you're doing your work to get it all done properly, exactly right, how do you stay organized as far as making it all come together? How do you keep the mindset right?
We follow the guidelines of the contract, so we set up due dates for when we need to be ordering items, as well as making sure that anything for Schedule C has been taken care of as far as clearing the title. Really, me personally, I use the task order in our screen, and I put due dates, and that's why I know what's due each day, and I base that based off the contract that's provided to me.
Sounds like you're saying systems and procedure,
yes.
Just as if you were flying a 747, everything must be right. Everything must work properly.
Yes, sir.
There you go. Did you ever fly a 747?
No, and I don't want that responsibility.
Neither did I. But both are super important, right?
Yes, definitely. It's all about the detail, like you said.
There you go. Kate Cannon. Well, before we close this segment, Kate, anything else you want people to know about Stewart Title in Richmond, Texas, right?
Well, yeah, I'm actually a new escrow officer there. I've joined a few weeks ago, and we're actually going to be doing a mingle and meet to come meet me on October 1st at our office. So stay tuned for details on that. I'd love to meet everyone in the Richmond area. I've been in Title for 8 years now. I've been serving the Katy and Fulshire area. Richmond's a new territory for me, but I'm here and ready to take on the challenge and be here to help all the clients in the surrounding areas.
Mingle and meet.
Yes.
Well, sounds great, and that's October 1st.
Yes, sir, it is.
Let the word go forth, and let's tell people, Kate, how they can reach you, because I know they're excited and they want to bring the real estate transaction right there to your office. So how do they reach your Stewart
Title? They'll give me a call
office?
at 281-341-0404. 281-341-0404.
Kate Cannon, super awesome. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Phil. Have a good day.
In today's litigious society, it is imperative to have the proper insurance to offset the many risks facing your business, especially if you're a real estate broker. Your errors and omissions and cyber liability insurance can help limit the threat of these risks if you know what to look for. Not sure if your insurance addresses the risks facing your business? Contact Stewart Insurance to be confident your brokerage can withstand these risks. Stewart Insurance, 866-798-2827. StewartInsurance.com. That's StewartInsurance.com or call 866-798-2827.
Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title would not be possible without our partner, Stewart Insurance. With a focus in real estate and a special focus on real estate brokers, Stewart Insurance creates insurance plans to address the risks facing our industry today. They invest a significant amount of time helping real estate broker owners offset and manage their risks. Here he is, once again, John Bramlett with Stewart Insurance.
Bill, always a pleasure.
Well, here we are. It gets more interesting each show, I think.
Every show gets
just
better
saying.
and better. Every show gets better and better, yes.
And then every show has an insurance segment. And once again, it is now time to talk insurance.
Well, let's talk general liability. As a broker or an independent title and attorney agent, property management firm, or in some cases, just being a real estate professional, it's important to consider general liability coverage, and in some cases, it's actually required. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time today talking about what that is, what it provides, and some options to consider.
People have waited to hear about this for years, John, so let's go.
Yeah, it's been topic number one on
Riveting.
the Amazon list of most important insurance topics. So there's 4 areas really that are critical when you're considering general liability coverage. So you've got slip and fall, property damage, advertising injury, and then legal fees and costs. So the slip and fall is just quite as it is. So if you've got a client that's visiting your office or a prospective client that you've taken to an open house, or you're hosting an open house and you have a client there and somebody falls and injures themselves, then you've got some coverage to help with those medical costs and potential if there was some defense needed or involved. With the property damage, so if you were hosting an open house and a vase within the home or some of the property the homeowner was damaged, or if you were taking a client to an open house and there was some property that was damaged, it can help with that costs. Advertising injury is relatively new, I say, last 10 or 15 years, and that really comes into play with how you make somebody feel. So did you say something that offended me, or did you say something that it minimizes my ability to do my job or my ability to buy or sell a home? Did you write something that hurt my ability to do my job or to buy or sell my home? Did you use language in your ads or photographs in your ads that you didn't have a right to? So you've got a copyright infringement. That can happen. We have a client that utilized a photograph of the downtown skyline of the city of Houston on their LinkedIn page, and their assistant assumed that since it was online that it was available. Law firm out of New York State noticed it. It was owned by a photography firm in the Central Texas area, and they were being sued for copyright infringement. So it's important that you understand where that comes from, but it does provide some coverage there. And then if you need some legal support because of a claim or a suit, and you need some defense coverage, that's where general liability can also come into play.
So many things to think about.
Well, it really is. And there's one element of it that's not always taken advantage of that I do think is important to consider, and that's non-owned auto. And that simply means if your firm is using, let's say, a rented vehicle or a vehicle that's not owned by the company, it can provide some coverage in case there's an incident. If your realtors that work for your firm, they're using their own vehicles to go out and sell, to do business, then it can help if there's an issue where there's a liability claim that could come back onto the brokerage. So that's always important to take a look at. And then the other one that's really interesting is if you have some commercial property, whether that be desks or chairs, computers, printers, servers, things like that, furniture, you can combine that commercial property coverage with the general liability, and that becomes a business owner's plan. And in many cases, depending upon the qualifications of the organization, in many cases, you can save money on both the cost of the general liability and the commercial property by combining them and making it a business owner's plan.
So there's ways to strategize to have the proper coverage.
Absolutely, because it's important to understand not only the business that you do, but how you do that business and where you do that business. Because in many cases, if you're leasing a space for your brick and mortar office, many times the landlord is going to require general liability coverage. So being able to understand what that landlord's requirements are. In many cases, we work directly with the property management firm or the landlord themselves to find out all the critical information and take that task off of our client's hands, so we can determine that we understand, the percentage of the square footage that's being used by, our prospective client and how they're using that and what are the materials that are there. How was the building built? How old is the building? All those things come into play. So It is important. And then there's some situations where if you have partners that you work with, they may require a general liability plan. So it's important to not only to understand what you do, but how you do it.
It's interesting that people should know that they can talk to an advisor at Stewart Insurance. That way they know kind of what questions to consider and things they didn't know to even think about. So that's one of the beauties of Stewart Insurance.
It really is. And it's, we understand and we recognize and appreciate the fact that the cost of insurance has become an issue for everybody, both on the business side as well as the personal side. And we understand that budgets come into play, where we just want to make sure that regardless of the decision you make on your coverage, whether it's very robust or very conservative, that you have an understanding of what is and is not covered, and you're accepting to that, at least for the time period. Where we get into trouble and where our clients get into trouble is they assume that they have coverage that they don't have. So if they're willing to invest a few minutes with one of our advisors, we can make sure that we walk through what the pluses and minuses are based upon what your needs, and that could be a business for general liability or an individual for home insurance. Make sure we understand what those needs are, and then we can craft a plan that best meets your needs for today's time and place.
That sounds awesome, John.
Well, it's an awesome team. We're very blessed to be part of the Stewart family. We truly do have an exceptional team that really do have our clients at heart, and we think in terms of helping businesses and families versus writing plans and policies.
There you go. Well, what are some of the other things we should know?
Well, again, I think reinforcing the fact that you do want to be properly insured, that you do want to make sure that you understand what that coverages are. So if you're a business and you've got considerations for errors and omissions, which in a sense is coverage for a business to make sure if somebody comes back and says you did not do your professional job, you did not do your best, it's malpractice insurance for a business. We can help with that. Cybercrime, as we all know, is a growing issue. We have several partners that we work with for cyber liability coverage. We can help with workers' compensation. So with the general liability policy, we talked about slip and falls and injuries. Employees are excluded in that coverage. So if you want to be sure that you're covered, your employees are covered, then we can talk about a workers' compensation plan. And the same on the personal line side. We can help with your home, wind, auto, flood, watercraft, motorcycle, investment property. We can help with all those as well.
And of course, you mentioned cyber. The cyber threats will not go away. In fact, they're getting worse, I hear.
They will, and we can work with a variety of plans. We understand the things that need to happen from a risk minimization perspective before we even can talk with an insurance company about getting coverage. So we can walk you through the things that the insurance companies are going to expect. Do you have processes and procedures in place? Do you have antivirus software? Do you have firewalls? Do you have multifaceted authentication? All those types of elements are going to be critical. We can walk you through what those expectations are, help you get that set up, so then we go and see the insurance company or companies and look for plan options. We can build the best plan possible.
I bet people are wondering right now how they can reach Stewart Insurance.
Well, they can reach us at 866-798-2827. That's 866-798-2827. They can learn more about us at stewartinsurance.com, and they can email us at stewartinsurance@stewart.com.
John, I think right now there's a person on the Cypress Boardwalk wanting to know how they can be properly insured. What number should they call?
Well, we've worked with Kim Dawkins to set up a hotline for the Cypress office and the Cypress Boardwalk, and that's 866-798-2827.
Sometimes we just crack ourselves up, right?
Nothing like an inside joke on the radio.
There you go. Thank you so much.
Professional broadcasters, Bill and John.
That's right. The number again is
866-798-2827.
Thank you so much, John Bramlett. Well, as we wind up the show, it's time to talk once again to Christy Kubala with Texas Local Realty. Good to see you back, Christy.
Good to have you. No. Sorry. Good to be back.
Well, here we are. As we close things down, what else do you want people to know about what you're doing?
All right. Well, I just think everybody should get their ducks in a row if they are having the itch to find a new home. And we can definitely help you get that done before the holidays. My cell phone is 832-922-1893. 832-922-1893. 1893.
Now, I don't know, when you said ducks in a row, were you thinking about are there ducks in the Cypress Boardwalk in the water?
Plenty.
I bet there was a mental
We
thing
have a
there.
whole Facebook page for the wildlife in our neighborhood.
And I bet wildlife photographers, me being one of them, at least an amateur, I think I'm going to go to the Cypress Boardwalk and get out the super zoom camera, take some wildlife pictures.
I think you should.
Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
That can be done right there in Cypress. Again, your number, Christy Kabbalah, is
832-922-1893. Hope to talk to you soon.
Thanks for being with us. And now, let's talk to Kristalla Pashis. Once again, she's with Keller Williams Memorial from South Africa right now. So, hey, Kristalla, welcome back.
Nice to be back.
Well, what else do you want people to know about what you're doing before we close the show?
Well, I'd like to welcome you all home with Stella. Any needs or wants that you want, I'm here to serve you.
And another thing, as John mentioned, open houses. Now, are there a lot of open houses going on these days?
Yes, they are. You just need to drive a weekend and you're going to see signs posted everywhere. There's always an open house.
So we're in open house season. Okay, Kristalla Pashis, let's tell people once again how they can give you a call.
You can reach me at 832-289-0523. And once again, 832-289-0523.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
And now, money time. Once again, as we close things down, here she is, Carrie Jo Woodling and Denzel Davis. Hey, guys, welcome back.
Thank you. Great to be back.
You know, I just like saying Carrie Jo. Is that okay?
Yeah, I love it. I like it too.
Well, Denzel, as we close things down, what should we know?
I want to make sure everyone understands that rates have started dropping. So in the last 90 days, down about a point. It's not, if you want to own a home, it's time to get after it. It's time to look into your options. You have missed the high rate market, and it is getting better every day. So be urgent and go find that perfect home.
I like what you said. It's getting better every day.
It is.
That's super awesome. Well, anything else, Carrie Jo, that they should know besides your contact info?
Sure. I believe that there's a lot of talk out there about all mortgage companies are the same. It's just another mortgage company.
I bet that's not true.
That is not true because those companies attract people, and those being the loan officer. And the loan officers at NRL Mortgage are different. And if you don't already know that, please reach out to me at 281-229-1843, and let's have a conversation and let me match you up with the loan officer that best fits your need.
And if there's a real estate office that wants to bring you in for some information or a presentation, do you do that as well?
Absolutely. Our schedule, Kevin and I work closely, and it's full. But yes, we do bring training and education into small, large, medium brokerages.
And the phone number again is?
281-229-1843.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Denzel.
Thank you.
And you know, because she was so awesome, Kate Cannon is back. Because you know what, Kate? We're going to close the show, just you and me, as we wind things up, because it's never been done before with an escrow officer. So here you are.
That's what I'm here for.
So again, your office for Stewart Title is
2116 Thompson Road in Richmond, Texas.
Richmond, Texas. Then they can call
281-341-0404.
Well, Kate, it's been awesome. Welcome to the family. We're glad you're here. And thank you all for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I'm your host, Bill Knapik, together with John Bramlett, all of us at Stewart Title and Stewart Insurance. We're glad you're listening to the show. Please tell others. And you can also see the show. That's right. There is a show archive where not only you can hear the show, but you can see the tremendous guests simply by going to stewart.com/radio. That's stewart.com/radio.
Thanks for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title.
Thank you all once again. We'll see you next week. Stewart.com/radio.
When it comes to real estate, everything matters. Whether you're a broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, for informative and entertaining information when it comes to owning, buying, and selling real estate, tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance.